Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested in migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once about all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Alright, welcome to 2025. Now this video I would like to bring you some of the potential or possible trend of 2025's Australia skill migration. Obviously, we have known what had happened over the other side of the Pacific. Donald Trump has become officially the president of the United States and has already issued numbers of executive orders that actually affect a lot of the immigration policies in US, and at that also affecting all the immigration policies around the world too, because we have just seen a major change of the Western society's political system swinging from the left wing all the way to the right wing, and what's happening in Canada and Australia, as you probably have been noticing and following my channel for long enough, noticing that the restrictions and the lowering of the migration quota has been caused a lot of issues. So in this video, we would like to go through the potential and possible and changing and what we expect the policy is going to be in the coming month or 12 months, shall I say. So obviously we will notice that there's going to be a general election coming up in Australia, whether it's going to be held in March or April. Seems to be going to be April. It used to plan for May, but May will have the clash with the Western Australia's state elections, so they are required to move it forward a little bit earlier. So it's likely to be in April. I think that's what they're planning for, but March is still debatable. So as you see, the current Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the leader of opposition Peter Dutton is in a heated debate in all areas of the Australian communities or interests and things. So you may see more of that kind of news if you're in Australia throughout the next I think will be about another 2 or 3 months. There will be a lot of debates on that one, and the potential now the opposition leader, because Peter Dutton is actually on the right wing side of the politics, and if we're looking in the the larger scope of the world, it's moving towards the right wing. So likelihood to win, and also if he wins, further restriction on the migration topic will be enforced. So Peter Dutton is looking to further reduce the permanent migration intake for another 20 to 25%. How is he going to do that is still questionable, because looking at the current system and the backlogs, if he imposes an even lower restriction, that will basically means a lot more delay. And how he will actually plan to do that, or shifting around, well, usually the right wing will kick out a lot of the protection visa application and the refugees convention, just like how Donald Trump has been done. He's just been putting on pause for about 4 months on the refugee settlements. So how Australian government is going to get that done in 2025, interestingly to know, and we'll look forward to foresee that. Now, one of the things that I think Australia may take consideration is this. I've seen what the Quebec province in Canada has done. As we know, if you have recently been to Australia, it's the nationality balance on the migrants. It's in fact imbalance. You see a lot of people coming from the same nationalities now, rather than if we go back 10-20 years ago, it's variety. You see variety people, but now you can see a mass nationality in particular cities. So I presume one of the consideration that's including how the international student cap, whether it's going to be an actual legislative cap or a de facto cap, they will have a policy and throughout from the international student and international education sector to the skill migration. So what the province of Quebec has actually done, they impose country cap. That means they're giving out a maximum of 25% of particular for all the nationalities. So that means once you hit a particular nationality for a particular visa category, once they hit a certain number, they will basically stop. The system will not allow anyone else on that nationality to actually get approved anymore. So then the province of Quebec could actually have more variety of different nationalities. You see what I mean? It's also another type of restriction as well. So the benefit of this is obviously it's going to be more multicultural, and for the smaller population nations, they will have a better chance and better opportunity. But in the disadvantage, the cons on this impositions or perhaps a proposal will then obviously disadvantage to those nations with the larger populations, because obviously a larger population will have more people interested to migrate or coming abroad. Then that means the larger population nations, if you wanted to come abroad, it's going to be a lot more competitive. As you know, you're trying to imagine the balance of that logic there. So that's probably one thing I think the Australian government could actually impose, which already been done by the Quebec province in Canada. This is back in October 2024. Now, there's nothing like this has been done, but we have already seen on the international education sector that the government of Australia has putting on so-called risk level on different country passport, but it's more assessing towards the genuineness of the international student, but not counting on any cap of any other category of the nationality. So this may be something that will be coming, that I think, because if there's going to be further restriction, then this will be something that the government of Australia may consider. Now, talking about the skill migration, I think the biggest demand and advantage will actually move towards the employment sponsor visa, it's now called skills and demand visa, because it's been giving out as the largest quota within the whole migration program, and I believe that will continue even if we have a change of government in perhaps in April. So that will still roll, because the employment sponsor visa could directly inject the economy's requirements and more effective, because then they will require more skilled people to actually be employed. They pay tax and things like that. So this will be the category of visa. And what does that mean to you? That means finding an employment, finding a job in Australia will be the most important element if you wanted to skill migrate to Australia, because once you have the employment, you have opportunity to transfer into permanent residency through employments or through independent point test system, which is coming up in a reform, and we have already done a particular video on this one. Now, you may want to search that video there. I'm not going to go through the detail there, but this new proposed plan from Grattan Institute, which the institutions has been highly rated and usually been taken as recommendations. The only thing that the differences here is that they have putting on rating and giving out different points on people's earnings right up there. Now, obviously, I've covered some of the detail, but you can see the higher that you earn, you get more points. You see that right up there? The higher of your income, you get more points. So that's another element I think will be introduced. Obviously, then the government of Australia will then encourage a skilled worker in a better talented skilled worker, so they are coming in with a higher income, better skill, rather than not really ditching out those trade workers. Some trades talents they get highly paid too. Okay, so the higher pay employee or talents will actually get a better opportunity to actually skill migrate. Now, the other thing I also wanted to point out, that the trend that coming up in 2025 is this one. Now, we have talked about this in the past. About this is the migration strategic plan that was pointed out in early 2024. Although we already seen skills in demand visa being implemented, but there are still parts that hasn't been added in. For example, it reads, temporary skill migrant will also be enabled to apply permanent residence through self-nominated independent pathway, for example, through a reform point test. Okay, so obviously the reform point test table has not been provided as of yet, but again, it's actually in a way to promote people get employed, get a job. If you get employed and you've been working in Australia with whatever the annual salary is, you'll be able to what? Self-nominate. Okay, so again, the key here that I wanted to tell you in early as a January, obviously there's going to be a lot more elements that's going to impact Australia with the change of the migration, but the trend will be work, job, work. So job. If you get job in Australia, you get to migrate, and that is the key thing that I wanted to share with you. In regards to the restrictions, I think obviously if the opposition leader Peter Dutton become our next Prime Minister of Australia, then I think the likelihood to restrict, rather than talking about numbers, they will probably talking about nationality caps, because I think that's the only way, and that's still can be agreeable to be done. Because if you continue to restrict numbers down, then that means more delays. But if we're talking about the caps on the nationalities, that will potentially putting a better migration program that it's more multicultural, rather than, for example, if you go to the city of Melbourne nowadays, you will see it's well, still Melbourne, but you will see some nationalities in bulk numbers, as you may notice that. And I think that will be another thing that the government of Australia will require to get that improved. Anyway, should you have more question query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.